Zac Efron says Ted Bundy role was impossible to separate himself from. In Zac Efron's latest film role, he plays serial killer. Zac Efron has spoken about the role, saying it was difficult for him to separate himself from it, and playing a serial killer tested his mental health. At the premiere for the Ted Bundy film last night, Zac Efron was asked about how he was able to limit the mental toll. He said that Zac Efron as Ted Bundy in extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. At the time of his trial, was a good-looking man who gained people's trust and was able to manipulate them. Bundy was executed. The film has. However, Zac Efron said
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.